Right, we're going to start. There's always a way to make them quiet. Not that we want to, Dennis. Right. I am the notices. I have the notices and I am the notices, really. Firstly, there's a sheet of paper on your table that looks like this. Jen is really keen that we support some of these events, especially the ones that have got Baptist associations and things, because then we can network with other Baptist people. And if you'd like to, take a photograph of it, if you've got your mobile, of the bit you'd like to go to. That would be really ecologically sound, wouldn't it? And if you haven't got a mobile phone with a camera, you can just take one of these at the end of the meeting. So it's got lots of important dates on, including somebody's wedding, Paul and Debbie's wedding. The Northampton Prayer and Praise, we're not quite sure where it is yet, but we'll try and let you know next week. And on Sunday the 17th of May, on here and up here, is the church meeting, and we're calling it Building Vision, which is like a double meaning. So it would be to share the vision of what we see for the building and about the vision for this church. The second notice is Anne and Ken from this church are supporting Pentecost Sunday. Again, if you want to take a copy of this flyer, have a photo of it with a mobile is a great way to do it. On the back is the foundation of the whole thing, which is prayer, which starts before. And if you'd like to be part of that, you can ring up or email these people and they would love for you to go. Basically, it's replaced the Abington Park when everybody joined together. Tony's making funny faces at me. I'm doing it on no. Sorry. Jesus Centre on 24th of May, which is a Saturday. Saturday? No, Sunday. From 2 to 4:30. That's going to be a big celebration with a famous speaker called Jonathan Oliade, and there will be fantastic worship there, and it is replacing what was in Abington Park as the Pentecost Sunday. And Anne has got a prayer of blessing, and if you are a prayer, whether you are 2, 1, maybe, I think 1 couldn't read it, up to 100, and you would like to pray for this event, she's written a prayer, and you're welcome to a copy of it. Just come and see me. We're nearly through. At the deacons meeting, Jenny said that Wootton Fields Church now have a small visiting team that go out to visit people in the community. Some are elderly, some are not, who are lonely and who really benefit from seeing somebody every week. And they at Wootton Field have got it going, but they would like us to send a small team or to join them because I think they're running out of people. They've got more people to visit than they've got people to go. So, if you'd like to go, this will tell you a little more about it. Referrals are made. It's called the Link Visiting Scheme. Referrals are made to the church leaders from social services or the police. And then arrangements are made for your protection and for the protection of the people you're visiting. There's a short training and then you'll be let loose. So, you can take one home if you want to. There's a big flat there. And also at our meeting, it's our general meeting on the 17th, and the treasurer and the secretary would both like a rest, basically, especially the treasurer, because Sue's been doing it for 5 years, and as she said, she's not a numbers person, but she's done an amazing job, and she's done that through various crises in her family. So I'm really saying now, just so you can think about it, pray about it, if it's you. Like John Lee last week just so impressed me, because this is so God, because he was going to just put the email in the trash bin, which I do with a lot of emails, and then God said to him, no, act on it. And because of that, an amazing thing happened. But the same could happen with you with treasurer or secretary. You think, no, that's not for me, I don't want to do it. And then God might just say to you to stir something in your spirit. So that would be a real blessing to the church if you'd think and pray on that. And the last thing, I'm going to try and get us all up here at the end just to take one photograph. You don't have to look any more beautiful than you do now because you look beautiful. But we've sent some money to Purity through her pastor in Kenya. And I've bought a card for her. It says, "The blessing of the Lord be upon you." This is a young mum. She's got 5 children. The youngest is 6 months, and she's a church attender, Purity, but she has got an advanced stage of cancer in her breast, and she's got to have it removed. Kenya's hospitals are not brilliant. They're very expensive. And so Sean, who comes here, did email us to ask if we could help. And we sent the email round, and it's gone round several churches. I don't know the amount that's been raised yet, but I know that we raised over 200, which was brilliant, £208. That's absolutely brilliant. And just really, I would thank you. I know that God delights in us doing this, and it will mean so much to this lady. And so I've got a card here. It says, "To our dear sister Purity, we're holding you in our hearts and prayers. We send you love and blessings for full recovery. Mungu akabariki," which means God bless you, hopefully, on Google Translate, from everyone at Carey Baptist Church, Hackleton, England. I'm not going to get people to sign it, but I am going to put the photograph in so that she can just know who it's from, so we're not strangers anymore. I think that's it, Paul.
I was going technological today. And it won't go. It won't open. It just won't open. It told me the battery's charged, but it won't open. So what's the point of having an on switch if it doesn't go on? Well, I kind of sat there with my button for a few times, but you can play with it if you like. See if it works. Just hit it. Sometimes I just hit it and it helps. Like you used to with the old tellies, just bash it on top. Okay, well, we're kind of, informal because it's cafe. But I really kind of felt today, this week actually, that God was going to do something this morning. And wanted to really kind of move us into a deepening of expectation of what God can do. And this kind of came to me really because I just want to introduce this before we sing. This book called Like a Mighty Wind. Anyone ever seen this book? No? Okay. Well, this actually was written in 1971, I believe. And it's about the Indonesian revival. When I was 18 years of age, I read this book, which I think makes it older than 18. It's actually 1967. And I was reading this book, and it's got things in there that are so incredible that you either just believe it like you believe the Bible, or you think, no way. Because in here it talks about water into wine. It talks about people walking on water. They went out preaching from island to island. They just walked on the water. It talks about having food and the food being multiplied because they didn't have enough. They had about, thank you very much, well done. They had about, just leave it there and it'll come on, and I'll use it in a moment. So you just need children, don't you? That's and it'll work. Where was I? Yeah, they had things like birds coming to the schools and singing, and the children picking up the song, the melody, and singing Christian songs with it. Just totally amazing stuff. And this revival that took place in Indonesia, on the island of Timor. And when I remember reading it, I was thinking, this is incredible. This is like reading the Bible. And I was talking to a guy at my church, and I said, I've been reading this book, and it's amazing. I said, and I started saying some of these things that happen. And he says, yeah, but you don't want to believe all that, he said. He says, you can't really, people write books, right? And they kind of exaggerate, and they say these things, and it's a book. You're like, And I was thinking, no, you can't say that. It's like this is a miracle. And I went away, and I didn't realise that I'd actually taken that on board. Because I came to Northampton, in Northampton, and I was probably this would have been about after I was living about, what would it be, 1977 it was, 1977. So it was about 6 or 7 years later, okay? And someone said to me about this book, just said to me, that's something that happened. They said, that's like in the Indonesian revival, with Noel Terry. Did you ever read his book, Like a Mighty Wind? And I said, yeah, I did read it, but you can't really believe all those sorts of things, can you? People write these things. And he said, why don't you believe it? And I went, yeah, why did I say that? And suddenly I realized that I'd taken on board what this guy had said. His negative thinking, even though I hadn't been aware of it, had actually kind of eroded what I thought. And I got to a place there where I was thinking, where's my faith gone? Why don't I believe that? And then this week I was watching the television, and someone was doing this, it was on the God channel, and this man was doing a program where he was trying to introduce people into the idea of recognizing that we all have a testimony. And look at your testimony, or look at stories that happen to you. Look at things, anything that takes place. You need a car parking space. You need a plane ticket. Whatever it is, something that you know that God has done. He says, look at your stories and your testimonies, and he says, and think about them, so that you've got an opportunity. You can tell somebody. You can say, this happened to me, as a testimony. So he started to go around with a mic and get testimonies off people. And there was a lady there, and she said, I really always enjoy a communion service, she said. But she said, the best communion service I ever had was in Indonesia. She said, I'd gone there as a young girl. This lady was probably in her 60s. She said, I'd gone there as a young missionary. And she said, I didn't realize at the time, but there was revival breaking out in Timor. And she said, I was on the island of Timor. And she said, we were having communion, and there was no wine. She said, but they gave us a glass of water. She said, I lifted my water, and she said it went red. And she said, and I drank it, and it was wine. And I listened to her, and I thought, wow, that's like, hearing it again. And she says, you might have heard that story, she said, but she said, I was there, and it happened to me. And I thought, amazing, from the story. And so, we sometimes can think all these things that just belong into another age, like the Bible, or belong to different people. But God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And He is a God of miracles. He's a God of power. I just want us to look at the story of today. We're going to sing it now, but the story of Peter, when after he'd received the Holy Spirit, goes to the Gate Beautiful and sees the lame man, begging. And kind of the miracles begin in the book of Acts. What Jesus did was the start, but it was only the beginning. We then move into the book of Acts, and the book of Acts is full of what the disciples did. And it doesn't end, because it goes on to what we do. And Jesus said, greater works will you do than I did, because I now go to my Father. So the story continues. It continues in every one of us. Every one of us has got a story that He just wants us to continue with. So let's sing.
We're going to sing, I see the King of Glory, lifted on the clouds with fire, riding on the clouds with fire. Something like that. Yes.
Anyone want to take these round?